What's up, guys? My name is Rachel. Today I'm going to be giving you an honest review of O-DTE Options Trading Blueprint by Ernie Varitimos. I think that is how you pronounce his name. My assumption is that if you're watching this video, you're somebody who's trying to learn how to make money online. For myself, I was in a very similar situation a couple of years ago because I was in a job that I absolutely hated. I needed to get out of it. And so I started taking courses to figure out any way that I could replace my full-time income. And I really specifically wanted to have more passive income. I didn't necessarily need it to be like fully passive, but passive enough that I could still spend time with my family. And it didn't have to be like such a huge burden because at the time I was working like 50, 60-hour weeks, and it was something I just really didn't enjoy. So I always like to explain at the beginning of these videos, like just a little bit of what I do now, because if you're in a similar situation, I know for me, I wish somebody had told me about what I do now, like way sooner than I heard about it, because it's the thing that really took off for me after trying all sorts of different things and spending a lot of money on different courses. So I always just like to give people a little extra tidbit of information. So, just bear with me. So what I do now is I basically build websites and then I rent them out to business owners. A more like concrete example of this, let's say I build a website that says like tree servicing in Richmond, Virginia, right? Build the website. I do really generic branding on the front end, maybe some stock images. And then on the back end, I use just some really basic SEO tactics. Nothing crazy. It doesn't even require any coding skills, which is great. And in a couple of days, it's going to start ranking on the top sections of Google. From there, I start getting phone calls and emails coming in from people who are looking for tree services in that area. Now, I don't own a tree service company. I don't live in Richmond, Virginia. Like, none of these things have to be true for me to make the website that says, tree service, Richmond, Virginia, whatever. And so I call up an actual local business owner and I negotiate a deal that says they are going to pay a flat monthly fee in order to receive all of these leads coming directly to their contact information. So the simple way of putting it is they rent the website, but in more detail, what they're really doing is they're buying these leads at a flat monthly price, right? So it's super simple. It's super easy. Once I build a website and get a client signed on, it is fully passive. I don't have to do anything. I've had clients for as long as 4 years who have not had to do anything to their website. Now, occasionally I do have to do little itty bitty tweaks to the SEO specifically, or maybe somebody wants to, update one of the stock images for their own personal company footage, things like that. But it's never something that's super intense. Currently, I've been making about $10,000 to $15,000 a month for the past couple of years, very consistently, just by doing this. And I hardly work 5 hours a week. Because I'm comfortable with the income level that I'm at, I don't have to be building new websites. I don't have to be pitching new clients. And so it makes it really simple. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can always check out the link in the description box below. Otherwise, I will get into the review. So the O-TDE stands for 0 days to expiration. If you've not really done a lot of research into this, it is kind of a complex topic that has to do with trading, like the stock market, things like that. So it's about like trading options. This is not something that I am super well versed in. However, just doing some basic research for this, it's obvious that this is a complicated topic. So I want you to have the disclaimer that like I am not an expert on this. I have done some day trading in the past, but never when it comes to like options with contracts that expire on the same day. Like that's a whole different set of tools that I am personally not that familiar with. But the thing is that Ernie's course teaches like this asymmetric risk strategy. Obviously there's a strategy that goes with this because there has to be. It's all about like basically making the least risky move possible, even though there is still a lot of risk involved in this. The first thing that I just want to say is that I have my own personal bias against courses like this because I don't believe that this is actually the way that most people should be making money from trading. I think that most people should probably just put a specific amount of money every single month into like the S&P 500 or other large companies, maybe like Coca-Cola. Like that's just an example. Like there are stocks that have historically done very well, and those are probably the ones you should just stick with. Open up a Roth IRA maybe. Like there's different options for you. And I think you should be doing long-term strategy and not short-term something like this, because this statistically, you are not going to succeed. And it's not just like a, 60% fail, 40% succeed. No, it's like 99% fail and 1% succeeds. So it's just maybe not something that I would suggest that you put any time or energy into, honestly. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but I think sometimes people just need to hear the truth that you're probably going to lose money on this. And I don't want you to lose money. I want you to make money. I really do. So I can't endorse this. I have a decently negative outlook on what this guy is trying to teach, just from my own personal experience, as well as like what the stats say on this kind of thing. So take that as you will. I really do wish you guys the best of luck on your money-making journey. Please, if you are interested in learning about building websites and renting out to business owners, click on the link in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video.